Hey everybody. Okay, so I have a really beautiful message to share with all of you today. I'm really excited, but also nervous because it's pretty out there. I know a lot of my stuff is, but yeah. I feel very, very like honored to share this message too. So yeah, just follow along, I guess. And just as a precursor, it's has to do with aliens. So if that's not for you, then you can go ahead and stop this video and move on to the next thing. Um, so yeah, before I get into it, I'm just going to say that like this came up actually because just the previous video that I made where I was explaining some messages that came in about gold and like our history with gold as humans and the energy of gold and the transmutation of that energy. One of the other messages that came in about that was regarding the Anunnaki race, and it just felt too like important and heavy to just try to throw it all into one video. So I decided that I would do it separately and that I would spend a little extra time meditating and channeling that information for you guys. So yeah, so without further ado, here we go. I actually personally do not still actually I should say know a whole lot about the Anunnakis. Um, they were first introduced to me years ago, and I spent a little time researching. So what I do know, which maybe a lot of you who study this stuff already know, is that they came to our planet thousands and thousands of years ago to mine and harvest gold for their own use on their planet. And what came of that was developing basically a slave race or species to help them mine the gold. And that is our origin, our human origin story, is that they took the DNA of the best like candidate, I guess, that they felt on the planet, and combined it with their own DNA to create this bloodline. Um, and I always like have found that very fascinating. It actually makes a lot of sense to me, as strange as that sounds to say. But I studied and majored in anthropology, and I have a deep like interest and passion in our human origins and our ancestry. And it always felt to me like there was this very like unsatisfying gap in our fossil records, and I always like I always felt like this void and like this mystery to solve. Like, and then when I heard about that, I was just like, it's something that I felt like I was kind of knew, but didn't know like how to explain it. And it just seemed super out there. But I always kind of felt like we were seeded, like our planet was seeded by aliens. So when I heard that, I was like, that doesn't sound weird at all. That makes sense. Um, so, anyways, yeah, so that was kind of like my baseline to start with. And then just recently, as I've been having a lot of memory come back in of my own origins in the galaxies, and as I've been connecting with that, I've been having this like connection come back in for myself with the Anunnaki. Um, and so today, when I went into my meditation and channeled the information, the energy that came through was our Anunnaki Mother. Um, and yeah, like it's just like so crazy because like halfway into it, I just kind of had this realization of like, wow, it's Mother's Day today. Like she chose this day to connect and get this message out. So yeah, it's pretty incredible. So basically, like I'll just start at the beginning. Like I knew right away when she came in that she was the Anunnaki Mother. It's like that was just very instantaneously like connected for me. And she showed herself as like this very like beautiful, like large, gigantic, like very tall, slender female Anunnaki. Um, and like it kind of like gave me flashbacks of those statues that I've seen in like the ancient like remains and temples of the very like large gods and goddesses. And I don't know if that is them. Again, like, I'm just telling you guys what I've channeled. Like, I'm not like a historian, or like I'm not giving you archaeological history right now, but you guys can make your own connections. Um, but yeah, so that's what I kind of pictured. And like, what really struck me about her, and her beauty, was that like her face was just like almost black, like just like she had this dark, beautiful, like, um, it was like almost black, but then there was almost like this like bronziness to it. It was just like so beautiful and just very like intense, eyes. And she had like an elegance about her, like very like simple in her dress, but also just like very elegant. And the way she came in was just kind of like wanting to connect, um, to us as her mother. And she wanted to kind of like explain like sort of her side of things, if that makes sense. Or like, I felt like she came in and just wanted us to like understand, like it kind of made me think of like when a mother has to give her child up for adoption, and if the mother and that child ever have a chance to reconnect, like something that I think that a lot of mothers in that situation really want to get across to their child is that they were loved and they were wanted. And you know what I mean? And that's what I kind of felt like. I felt like she wants to come in and say like that we were loved and wanted. And I know, like, from the things I've heard, that there's kind of this very like dark, cynical, evil sort of painting, like depiction of the Anunnaki race, and the fact that they came in and like created us to basically be slaves and do their slave work. Um, and like, I think that she just wants to be heard, in the sense that like that her love for us is very like complicated. And I think I found some beauty in that, because it's kind of like I see like that a lot of us have complicated relationships with our parents, and perhaps with our mothers specifically. And it kind of feels like that. Like she's coming in and like saying like, I know that this was like a mess, but like I like love you, you know? And like she really looked at her us like as her creation, and like adored us, and kind of showed me this imagery that was basically like Garden of Eden, like Adam and Eve, and that this was like what she wanted to create. Like, so there were other forces that, um, were involved with like that came in, obviously, to um, I think like what my understanding was basically is that like, yes, we were created as a slave race, but then she came in and had this like nature about her that she's like, yeah, I know this is like fucked up, but like there's a part of me that wants to nurture and love and like look at these beings as like my offspring, like my blood. And yeah, so it's kind of like bizarre. And she showed me, um, wanted to show this sort of like imagery to help us understand better, like, you know, sort of in our human world, like a comparison would be like a bee colony, and how in every bee colony there's a queen bee. And she was kind of showing us that like, yeah, there's this kind of fucked up dynamic where like the queen bee has this, sort of like telepathy with her colony, and she can like, they do everything at her will, and like everything they do is like for her, basically, like worker bees, like a bee colony, like they are slaves to their queen. And but it's like complicated though, because like there's this weird like love though, and like bond, and that's still like that's their queen. um so she kind of like was showing that a little bit. um but mostly, like, I think she just wanted to get across, like she just wants to like make herself known to us, and that she deeply like loves us. And she showed me that there was like a naivety on her part, like she was looking at things through sort of like rose colored glasses, and she didn't want to maybe totally see all the like fucked up stuff that was happening. She was just kind of caught up in her own bliss of being a mother. But then what came in were like these like evil external forces within the Anunnaki race, but also like other alien races that came to Earth and saw what was going on and wanted to like use humans as slaves, as their own slaves as well. And this is where the kind of like creation story of Adam and Eve is also a great sort of comparison, or there may be something to that, because it's almost like we were these like really pure, like innocent beings that we just did what we were told, um and we just felt like we were loved, kind of. And then it's almost like the snake coming into the garden. um it was like these other races coming in, these other alien races coming in and dividing, like causing division and chaos. And then she as a mother like mourned that for us and felt like in some ways like she had failed us. um so yeah, it's really interesting. And it kind of got me thinking too, like just a side note, like in my own thoughts, it makes me think about like even like our own sort of like complicated relationship we have with our pets. um I find that like some people don't understand like why I let my cat like be so free. I let her out and like run around, and there's like coyotes that live by my house and stuff, and people get so freaked out about that, and a lot of people tend to be very overprotective of their pets. But there's like this part of me that's like, yes, like my cat, she's like my child, and I love her and I want to protect her and I don't want her to have harm brought to her, but like I also want her to be free, and I don't want her to live this like miserable life cooped up in a house as an indoor cat. um I have a lot of theories about like why a lot of cats are so neurotic. I think sometimes is because they're just like going crazy, being trapped inside. And um, so to say that is what I mean is like we love our pets, and we say that our pets are our children, and yet we do things that like we don't totally allow them complete freedom, because we do deem them to be less intelligent and less intellectual as us. So we make decisions for them, and we even make a decision to euthanize them and end their lives when we feel, you know what I mean? So think about how complicated that relationship is, and then try to apply that maybe to like understanding the complicated relationship of our Anunnaki mother and our human race. Um, so yeah, I mostly just like interpreted the feelings of like just this deep, deep like love that was wanting to be conveyed. And also like this sort of request of like reconnecting with our mother. Um, some, again, it's like this so like weird sort of poetic thing, but you think about like some of us on Mother's Day who maybe are estranged from our own mothers, and we're just not ready yet. And that's kind of been the sentiment of the human race, is that we're just not ready yet. Even those of us that have no memory of that time. And some of you are listening to this and you've never heard of the Anunnakis before, possibly, so that might seem strange to say, but yeah, almost like this sentiment of like we're not ready yet, we're not ready yet. And then she's kind of like finally in this place of like a human earth mother that's like finally done her work and forgiven herself, and is like, yeah, I'm not gonna like rush you guys, but I just want you to know that I deeply love you, and I want you to hear the story from my perspective, and I am here to connect with you. um, so yeah, if this story resonates with you, then um, I'd love to hear from you. It may be that you yourself are an Anunnaki starseed, um, which would be pretty exciting. I kind of have been diving into that a bit myself, or have lived past lives during that time when they colonized the planet. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's all I wanted to cover. And I kind of feel like all this gold stuff came up as like, again, the Anunnaki like have done their work, and they've also like ascended in a lot of ways. Not necessarily all the Anunnaki, but like I do feel like there is this really like large group of Anunnaki beings that are trying to connect with humans in a way that is like pure love. And the sentiment is just like wanting to sort of like bring back like oneness and wholeness. Um, and I think they realized that like a lot of our like I was talking about in the other video, this kind of like gold rush mental illness, a lot of it was actually like rooted in them coming here and creating us, and mining the gold and teaching us like our parent, you know, we learn what our parents teach us, and they like taught us that gold is so valuable. So then our human race has valued gold. And I think that they want to come in and kind of like help us to again like transmute that energy. um what else? Yeah, so if you're wanting to connect with the Anunnaki, I like definitely encourage you to. It's really cool. I can't wait to connect more and learn more. And yeah, you can look out for like if you see a lot of like if you see bees a lot in nature, if you start seeing a lot of bee symbolism or honey symbolism, or just start like seeing the colors like see gold and yellows a lot, that may be your Anunnaki starseed family trying to connect with you. Um, yeah. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just like such a beautiful message on Mother's Day to connect with our mother. Um, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you as always. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Mother's Day. Love you. Bye.